We're so excited you decided to become a member.
Thanks, I didn't think it would be this easy.
I know. We've opened up memberships so even more people can take advantage of our amazing services.
Are you gonna clean this up?
Become a new member and take advantage of all RRCU can offer. Experience the credit union difference anytime, anywhere.
No, seriously, are you gonna clean this up?
Do you RRCU?
Back on game day, and as you guys roll in on Facebook, be sure that you give the game a share. If you're on YouTube, like, subscribe. East Texas Game Day, Texarkana, Longview, Paris. Appreciate you guys. And apologies again for the late start, but Wheezy, we may have gotten a late start, but the Prairiland Patriot football team, they showed up right on time.
They did. Like I said, from the very first play, Cam Watson, Cam's been out several weeks. He's suffered with mono, and he wasn't able to play for 6 weeks, and he comes in and he kind of set the tone right there off the bat. Come in and sack Jet Taylor, the highly regarded quarterback for Grand Saline, and then first play on offense is Youngblood breaks it for 50 up the middle.
And then the coverage on the other side, coming up to make the tackle, Forrest Arnold, and guess what? Freshman in on the action.
That's right. And Forrest is another one that, he was looked at for big things on the JV this year. He's got an older brother, River, who plays on the varsity. And, once Prairiland had some injuries and some other issues, on JV, and so they folded them into the varsity, and some of those young guys have stepped up and made big plays.
And so right back at it, Prairiland making a shift along the defensive line. And it'll be Jet taking it around the right side. And Prairiland missing a tackle initially, reversing course and being brought down. We're going to have to wait on spots from the official just due to the angle, but it looks like it'll be enough for 14 yards and a first down for Grand Saline. 6.5 minutes and rolling here in the first quarter. And again, clock not operational tonight. That'll be okay. We'll keep you guys updated with the time, and appreciate y'all tuning in to Paris Game Day for Prairiland versus Grand Saline here tonight at Patriots Stadium. Senior night as well, so these seniors are fired up. And we saw that on the first defensive side for the Prairiland Patriots. Here's jet sweep, left side, breaking through some tackles. And, of course, that's going to be Prox.
Yeah, he's probably the number 2 guy as far as weapons go for the Indians behind Taylor. He's his favorite receiver, and he'll get a lot of those. Like that will probably actually go as a pass and a reception.
The old pop pass,
yeah. Old, pass for 4 inches, but it goes as a forward pass.
However far the receiver, quote unquote, goes.
Yes.
I can't tell you how many former quarterbacks that I've talked to that have said, "Man, I wish I played when the pop pass."
Right.
So snap, keeper to the right side, and bottled up there by the Prairiland Patriots. And so for Prairiland, a little bit similar to that first drive, no problem getting into Patriot territory. Drove right down the field. And according to that, Prairiland coming up with a big defensive stand, just as they did the prior Grand Saline drive.
And I think that'll be, of course, it's maybe stating the obvious, but just keeping Grand Saline from busting the big play.
Absolutely.
Just contain them. And then like last time, Grand Saline gets a penalty, sets them back behind the chains, and then you make a couple stops and you get the ball back.
Taylor out of the gun. And we had a couple jump here, and they're going to call it against Grand Saline. You did have Prairiland get into the neutral zone, but drawn by the Indian right tackle who moved initially.
It wouldn't have surprised me there for Grand Saline to have gone on a long count, because Patriot defenders, they are chomping at the bits right now. They are are setting on go and they're ready to spring into action. So it would have been a good opportunity there for Grand Saline to use the long count and maybe draw some of them off sides while they're kind of super amped up early on here.
And I tell you what, that Grand Saline, that left tackle of theirs, he looks the part, doesn't he?
He does. They got something, another flag. No,
we got a timeout. Yeah, Grand Saline, timeout. We're going to take one with them. We'll be back in 30 seconds right here on Game Day.
We're here at the biggest game of the year for the kickoff, and I say these local guys have no competition, John.
No doubt, Stephen. Why sweat in the press box?
When you can sit like a king.
And we got the best seats in the house right here, baby.
Where every seat is the best seat.
Oh yeah, Texas Furniture and Appliance. Local since 1927.
These players are definitely in their comfort zone.
You say something?
And out of the timeout.
You're talking about the left defensive tackle or left offensive tackle for Grand Saline. Just glancing at their roster, it has him Lucas Nelson, 6'4", 275 pounds.
Yeah,
he is every bit of an offensive lineman.
Yeah, all it had to really say is Lucas Nelson, grown man.
Yes, really big.
Really big, yeah.
Because he's not a heavy 75.
Yeah, he's not a big slop out there.
He's a big, tall, solid, muscle 275.
Yeah, got arms that hang down, past the midway point of his thighs, something that schools will look at. But right now, 2nd and 15, the Prairiland Patriot defense, they've given up a few big plays, but held steady with 4.5 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Taylor, we're going to see him throwing the ball. A little bit of contact as he lets it go, and this one's sailing out of bounds.
They were going for the bomb there.
And going for Bo Hathcock that time. That sets up 3rd and 15. Now, they're at the Patriot 39. So as far as your play calling goes, you want to pick up all of it. You want to score.
Right.
You can also pick up half and go for it on 4th down.
Grand Saline has a sophomore kicker, Daniel Esquives, I believe is his name. I'll have to find that on the roster. And he's one of the top kickers in the state as a sophomore. He's got 40-yard. His longest is a 40-yarder.
They're going to throw the short stuff out there, and a great job defensively. Guess who that is? Easton Newman. And that's a grown man play against a very good player in the open field.
Right. If Newman doesn't make that tackle, I won't say he goes and scores, but it's a big gain for Grand Saline if Newman doesn't stop him one-on-one there in the open field.
And now this is interesting. 4th and 14. Clock rolling at 3:45 here in the first quarter out of the pistol. And they got trips to the right side, and Taylor dropping back. He's going to throw another deep one, and this is well defended. Did he come up with that? I think he did. And that is an unbelievable play made by Grand Saline. I mean, Prairiland had a man underneath, had a safety rolling over the top.
I thought that there was a possibility of that one being intercepted in the end zone.
I did too, and my goodness.
Well, that may be how Jet Taylor has 1,300 passing yards and 15 passing touchdowns, now 16 passing touchdowns for the season with catches like that.
I think that was Prox. As the extra point is up and good.
That was Esquivel. That makes him 43 out of 45 extra points this year, so he's pretty.
Only you would know that
consistent.
about the opponent's kicker. We're going to be right back with kickoff coming up on Game Day. Ready to rep your school and your wallet?
I'm here to open a student account and score that sweet school debit card.
With no monthly fees, mobile banking, and a debit card that shows your school pride, our student account is built for your game plan.
Get in the game. Open yours today.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
And getting ready for kickoff here from Patriots Stadium, a 7-6 ball game. And Prairiland got them right where you want them.
Hey, 7 holding, and I realize there's 3.5 minutes left, but to have Grand Saline with just 7 points with nearly the first quarter eaten up, I think, Prairiland would look at that and say, we'll take it in a heartbeat.
Well, and the reason being is because your 7 points came off of the spectacular.
Right.
If you can force them to do the spectacular all game, then I'll take that 100%. And there's that left-footed sophomore kicker. Fair catch called, and Prairiland will bring this one out with the offense that, hey, I'll tell you, they marched right down the field.
Right. They did. It was, and like you said, there was nothing that we didn't see when they played Chisholm, 3 weeks ago. It was
anyone since Coach Herb Smith has been the coach.
Right. It was Aiden Youngblood, he hit the hole and kept running toward the blue end zone, and nearly made it. Kind of stumbled. They didn't catch him. He kind of stumbled at the 15. And then, 2 plays later, a big Callan Bridges run up the middle, and then Ozzie takes it in, for another touchdown.
And that's what you get with Prairiland is, okay, which way is it going to come from? And here's the snap. I think we're coming to the right side here as being tripped up, forced out of bounds. Clock will roll, 3:20 to go in the first quarter. And that's going to go for no gain, stick to the 25-yard line.
Youngblood, in Prairiland, they've got, Austin Gordon has 800 yards coming into the game. He's looking for his second consecutive 1,000-yard season. Callan, he is the Larry Zonka of the team. His yards are tough and up the middle. He's got over 600 yards, and then Youngblood just had 400 and something coming in, but he'd missed a game and a half with injuries.
Handoff, they're going to pick through the middle, and this is a good run on second down.
Another one for Callan. That should be a first down.
And it is. And so they're worth we're playing by the scoreboard quite a bit where we're set up. We are on the 10-yard line on the field. And that was
15 yards from the Grand Saline band.
Yeah, so we didn't even put up a crowd mic. Well, we're like, you'll hear it. you'll hear that band, trust. But overall, that was a 9-yard run to pick up the first down, and now false start, some sort of it's going to be a false start against Prairiland. And this is really the thing you can't do. Right. Not that you have to play a perfect game, but you do have to stay ahead of the sticks tonight.
And you don't want the pre-snap penalties. The offsides, the illegal formations, that kind of stuff. That you'll take the aggressive mistakes, but you don't want just, our coach used to call them the sloppy things, where you don't line up right or you don't listen to the snap count.
Toss out right side. And not able to stay on that block, and the defender gets through to take down Austin Gordon. And so they'll mark it for no gain. Clock rolling at 1.5 minutes remaining here in quarter number 1, 7-6. Prairiland scored on a 3-play drive. Aiden Youngblood burst through for 50 yards. Callan Bridges picked up another 12, and then it was punched in from 4 yards out by Austin Gordon. Here's the snap coming left side this time. And not a whole lot doing there either.
Well, I've tried Callan again to the left side, and it sort of got into the gang tackling by Grand Saline. they're stopping those holes and plugging them before the Patriots can get through.
And now you're likely to see the arm of Keaton Kennebrew. I say that, and lo and behold, they will possibly run the ball again. Snap, and that will be the case. Trying to just muscle any kind of yardage is Bridges, and that'll go nowhere. And so 4th and 15, you can take it to the other side of the first half. Quarter number 1 coming to a close. 7-6, a very quick first quarter. And we'll be back with second quarter action coming up right around the corner here on Game Day.
Hello everyone, I'm Jason with Golden Corral in Texarkana. I've got big cheers going out to Lone Star Heating and Air. I talked with Matt Shirley over at Lone Star Heating and Air. They actually came out, looked to see what we needed. They ordered the supplies or the equipment and everything. They came in and they did the install. They did 2 units in 1 day with no business disruptions whatsoever. Thanks to Lone Star Heating and Air, we got our air up and going and everything's running good.
Back here on Game Day, getting ready for the second quarter. We'd like to thank our presenting sponsors, Texas Furniture and Appliance, Red River Credit Union. Thank you guys so very much for making this happen. Also, First Federal Community Bank and Moore, CDJR, Montgomery Moore, stepping up to the plate, saying, you know what, I would love for this community to watch our local athletes from anywhere, any corner of the earth. So thank you guys so very much for making Game Day possible, as Prairiland is going to be set up to punt. Logan Patton. Little squirrely one. You're hoping for a good bounce, and you get a little bit. So right around midfield, I think, is where that's going to end up being, a little bit into Grand Saline territory.
Right. You know what the Patriots don't want to do tonight, and I don't want to de-emphasize this game at all by any means, but the big game is next week against Harmony, and that will decide who goes to the playoffs.
Absolutely.
You win, you're in. This one tonight, if Prairiland wins, it doesn't really matter, because if Harmony beats us next week, we're still tied 3 wins apiece, and they get the tiebreaker. So what you don't want to do is like last year, we went down to Grand Saline, the exact same scenario that we're in this year, and Callum Bridges got hurt in the first half. So we go into the game week 10 versus Harmony without one of our 3 starting running backs. So they want to win the game, they want a good showing, they want a good output, they want to give 100%, but they also want to stay healthy.
Yeah, and I think that a game like this against an opponent like this can also alter a mentality. I mean, if you're Harmony and if you're Prairiland, and Prairiland plays a tight game, all right, let's just, play in a hypothetical. They get down fourth quarter, they're right there, but they don't pull it out. Harmony's still going to look at that and say, dang, they played with them.
Well, and Prairiland is too the whole next week. They're going to have that in their heads that, we hung with what was supposedly the best team in the district. We put up a good fight. So you want a good game going in, but
so it might give you a little bit of confidence, a little bit of swagger going into next week. And ultimately, that's what a game like that is about. Who's going to come in and not have the jitters, right? Like you said, not to minimize the importance of this game, but nonetheless, Prairiland, they've gotten Grand Saline behind the sticks in every offensive series for the Indians. They're going to throw out left side, and they're probably going to see a lot of that young man.
Right. The perfect case scenario is from Prairiland is that they pull up the upset of the district season and don't get anybody hurt. Go into the last game healthy.
So who would be sitting? Let's see the standings right now. Edgewood.
Well, I'm not sure because, I guess Edgewood, since they beat
Grand Saline.
I'm not sure what Edgewood and Lone Oak, how they turned out.
So Lone Oak is kind of sitting, maybe not in the 3rd seed, but
they're right.
Those
there.
three
Yes,
have it solidified. And Sweep's going to come to the right side, and I tell you what.
That's another good defensive stand there by Prairiland.
And they're flowing, man. I mean, they are just really going to the ball and not allowing Grand Saline to do the things on the ground that they want to do. Now, Grand Saline's hurt them in the air, but that's all the fortune they've had so far.
Right. Well, and they've hurt them in the air on a play that was, NFL quality catch in the end zone.
It's just something unbelievable. Yeah. 2nd down and 8, 9:20 on the clock here in the 2nd quarter. And, you got a feeling this is bread and butter. Okay, you stop the run. We got 2nd and long. All right, feed 3.
But, it's another one of those that if Prairiland can hold them to 7, 8, 9 yards on those plays and not let him break out, then the same thing happens like it's happened on previous drives, that Grand Saline gets a penalty or Prairiland makes a good stop on defense, and now Grand Saline's behind the chains. If you keep it reasonable.
And it'll also shorten the game.
Right.
Man comes in motion left to right. Taylor running to the right side. And he's got some blocking out there. It escapes from Patton and is finally forced out of bounds inside the red zone. And that'll set up another 1st down. And that's probably their best run so far of the evening.
Well, and that's where Jet Taylor tears you up, is just looking at that run, it looked like about a 3-yard run, and then by the end of it, he'd gained 12.
Right.
You miss one guy, you fake him out a little bit, and then you scoop for 6 more yards.
And so out of the gun, single back, Prox wide left, as he has been. They look out his way and then deliver to the right side, and this will be right at the sticks for a 1st down.
And that was another one. The pass that he threw was, 6 yards or so, but he made 2 guys miss. And instead of being stopped for a 4 or 5 yard gain, they end up with a 1st down on the 5-yard line.
Well, and that makes a lot of sense for Prairiland because a lot of your most experienced, most productive players are right there in the middle of that defense. And so you get it out on the edges, and that's where Grand Saline has been able to find some success. And they fake the handoff, and it's going to be Taylor. Again, you get to the edges, and it's a touchdown for Grand Saline.
They went with a little motion there. They had a receiver wide to the right side, moved him over to the left, and Prairiland, they kind of shifted to the left to accommodate that, and Taylor came right back at him this way.
And it gets tricky for a coach, as it looks like they're going to start with that swinging gate. The tee is on the field, so you know you're not fooling us, but. So it'll be Escoves. Kick is up, and it is good. 14-6, Grand Saline with the lead. 7:54 on the clock in the 2nd quarter. We'll be right back on Game Day.
At Moore Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Paris, we can make your next vehicle purchase simple, stress-free, and built around you. Whether you're looking for a rugged Ram truck, an adventurous Jeep, or a quality pre-owned, we have the right vehicle for you at the right price. And with over 700 5-star reviews, our customers know that our friendly, knowledgeable staff is here for you. So come see us off the loop in Paris, Texas, and for more details, visit morecdjr.com.
Back at Patriots Stadium, just under 8 minutes to go in the second quarter. Thank you guys so very much for joining us on game day. The Prairiland Patriots came out hot, got a defensive stand, and then on the other side of that went right down the field and scored. And then, you know, I don't know. This happens sometimes. Maybe that woke Grand Saline up. Maybe they just kind of figured, okay, the stuff in the middle's not working. Let's just work the edges.
Right.
And that's pretty much what they've done to put their 2 scores on the board.
Well, and that first drive, you know, Prairiland had a couple of quarterback sacks. Again, Cam Watson to start the game, and then Rhodes came up with one later. And it looked like Grand Saline was trying to throw the deeper pass at that point. And particularly that last drive they just made, it was the little short swing passes and the little 6-yarders and whatnot instead of getting deep. So Prairiland hadn't gotten as much pressure on him because he's not dropping back to pass like he was.
Youngblood is going to be tripped up just across the 15-yard line at the 17. That's where the Prairiland offense will come out. And I'll tell you what this offense is built for. This Prairiland offense is built to come out onto the field with 7:45 on the clock and eat the whole thing up.
Right. Well, and one of the reasons, you know, that I think that the school and, you know, maybe athletic director Stephen Weddle and all kind of went with a coach that favored this is because several years prior, Prairiland had an air-it-out offense, and it gave other teams the ball and that many opportunities to score. This, you know, you're limiting Grand Saline's explosive ability, and you're keeping Taylor from beating you by not letting him have the ball.
Second down and 1 after an Austin Gordon 9-yard run on first down. And, yeah, you're absolutely right. And I tell you, I talked to Coach Smith earlier this week. This is a 1,000,000% an offense that he believes in.
Right.
And he told me that I don't care if I was at South Lake Carroll, I would run this offense.
Right.
So here's the snap, handoff, Bridges, and he'll be right there at the sticks.
Move the chains.
Needed 1, got the 1, maybe 2.
But I know, you know, when my son Brooks Morrison was a sophomore, we played Cooper right here at Prairiland one game, and I saw Cooper score 3 touchdowns in about 1:15 off the clock because we threw the ball 3 times, incomplete 3 passes, and we didn't run but about 25 seconds off the clock and give it right back to them. They're explosive. They got firepower, and boom. So this eliminates that kind of stuff.
And
you know,
so here's
control the
Youngblood seeking that right side, and he's going to pick up maybe 3 or 4 on a play that initially didn't look like there was much there. And there's a Grand Saline player down far side of the field near the Prairiland bench. It seems okay.
Yeah, he's just kind of sitting there like maybe he just.
It was interesting. I think it was Prox.
Yeah, it's number 3, Prox.
And I know there's a lot of talk about the quarterback, you know, Jet Taylor. And make no mistake, you got to put the ball in a place where your receiver has a chance. But I think a lot of quarterbacks can throw it and say, here, go get it. I don't think many receivers at this level go and get it. Yes.
And Prox, I mean, you know, you look at him right here on the same sidelines that we're standing here talking from. He's a junior. He's 6'3", about 180. So I mean, they've got some athletic specimens over here on the Grand Saline team. And so when you've got a quarterback like him throwing to a guy that's 6'3", 180 and can go get it, that's pretty damaging.
And they fake the handoff and then throw the screen out to Gordon, and man, that's going to stick them behind the chains, and a phenomenal play made by Cameron Martinez, because if Cameron Martinez isn't there, he's got an angle to get to that edge.
Right. You know, and also he's got the speed that if he gets that corner on you, you know, he could go 70 from here. He doesn't have looking at back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons by being slow. He's quick and he's shifty, and if he gets the the corner on you, he can break it.
And he has one of my favorite new terms. It's probably not a new term, but contact balance. It takes a lot to bring him down.
Right.
Kennebrew going to throw, and instead he'll be taken down.
It's 53 Gabe Lewis, defensive tackle for Grand Saline.
And usually when Prairiland does decide, hey, you know, we're going to throw, relatively one read, you know, you snap, whatever the route is, it's developing and you go, right? We saw that on the pass to Gordon the play before.
Right.
So Grand Saline just had it bottled up. Patton gets away a better punt this time. Not going to get the same roll.
Kind of sideways.
Little east and west roll, and so that's going to set Grand Saline up in really good territory. Now, Prairiland did start the game on defense, Grand Saline on offense, so as this first half, I mean, absolutely burns through.
Right, Prairiland will get the ball back to start the second half. So if they can hold them here,
that's what you're needing.
They might could get the ball back with a little bit of time. But, you know, Grand Saline, for them to be a passing offense, they keep the clock running pretty good themselves.
4.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Taylor out of the pistol. Snap, handoff right. Prairiland has it bottled up, but he's going to get some hard-fought yards out of it. Probably not as many as he should have gotten, but it's going to set up second down and about 6.
You know, if they, like I said, if they can just contain them here and not give up a long play, you know, of course now would be a good time for one of those Newman or Rhodes blast through and sack the quarterback.
Well, Rhodes looked like he was coming initially, and there it
Hey,
is.
look at
There's
there.
the big sack. And that is Gilbreth.
Well, it wasn't who I called, but it was a sack nonetheless.
Absolutely. And
yeah, Gilbreth came in from the linebacker position, and that was kind of one of those you might call it a little bit of a coverage sack because Taylor didn't really have anybody open. He was still kind of looking and searching back there.
And I tell you what, Prairiland, they got a spoils of riches at linebacker.
Right.
They really do. And I know that Gilbreth, you know, he'll line up on the edge there, kind of back and forth. Kennebrew, Rhodes, and then Jaden Whitaker as well, sporting a new number tonight as they're chasing, and they will. No, he escapes and then throws errantly. He had a man, Ashton Withers, but that's going to stop the clock.
He had a man, but he also had Newman and Rhodes and Gilbreth all over him.
And we mentioned Jaden Whitaker. He's wearing 51 tonight. All right, so he started with 24. Had been 24
for 3 years.
For 3 years. And then coach says, hey, I need a guard. Will you do it? And Jaden Whitaker, that young man, he's, yes, right away, right?
55.
55 for, what, 3 games?
3 games. Now he's 51.
And I didn't get a reason from coach, but nonetheless, Prairiland's going to take a timeout. 2:52 on the clock in the second quarter. 14-6, Grand Saline leading, but Patriots getting the ball on the other side on game day.
Hey, I'm Josh Charette, project manager with 2B Builders. We're a local GC here in Texarkana. We have Lone Star out here doing our heating and AC. They do a good job for us. We really appreciate the customer service that they provide. I know that at Lone Star Heating and Air, I can always call Matt or Dave, their head commercial HVAC guy, and they will always pick up the phone when I need them. And that's a big thing when we're working out here on these commercial projects. Usually when we're in a bind, we need something and we need it pretty quickly, and we can rely on Lone Star for that.
back here on game day, and now Saline showed that they were going to punt. Prairiland calls a timeout, and Prairiland has 2 timeouts left, 2:52 to go in the first half.
You know, it's 4th and 15. You're at midfield. I know you've got a high-powered offense, but you also run the risk of giving Prairiland the ball right here in pretty decent field position.
And they're showing punt again. It's Prox, and he does. That's a pretty good one, man. That's going to stick you inside the 20 at the 14-yard line. And, you know, you could probably look at that and ask Prairiland, why not put anybody back? A punt like that doesn't matter. It got down the field so quick at an angle and skipped out of bounds.
Well, and you're not hurt as much, even if that punt rolls back to the 6-yard line. You're not hurt as much than if Saline runs a fake punt and you've got all of your guys spread out.
Sure.
They convert it, and now they've got the ball, you know, inside your 30-yard line with 2:46 left. So I think smart defensive decision there by the Patriot coaching staff.
Snap handoff left. And Bridges is taken down at the line of scrimmage. And obviously you would love a score before the half, right? You would love another, Aiden Youngblood breaks a big one, whatever the case may be. The important thing is that you protect the football right now. You get the ball to start the second half. And Saline does have 2 timeouts. And I was going to say, I was a little surprised that they hadn't taken one earlier, but they take one right now. Timeout on the field, and we will be right back here on Game Day.
Sorry you're under the weather, Susie. Here are those loan docs.
Thanks, James. I'm so glad we didn't have to delay this closing.
Tissue?
Thanks.
Secure and safe loan closings, or take care of just about any banking task. Experience the credit union difference. Anytime, anywhere. With RRCU's digital banking. Do you RRCU?
And back here on Game Day, where the Prairiland Patriots facing 2nd down and 10. Stephen Johnston, Wheezy Morrison. And Wheezy, man, I'll tell you what, the first time that we did a broadcast together, I had such a great time. You're a wealth of knowledge for Prairiland, and, by all means, threw out some great facts about Chisholm, too. So it's a pleasure to have you back here with us again on this Friday night.
Well, my wife would say I'm a wealth of something, but I don't know that it would be knowledge. But it's great. I've been a part of this school since as long as I've been around. Love it, love the kids. Coached most of these kids somewhere along the line, the past 16 years or so.
And now Saline's going to take another timeout. And even though we just got back, got to pay some bills, baby. So let's do it. We'll be right back here on Game Day.
At Raffaele Property Management, keeping our tenants comfortable is a top priority. That's why we trust Lone Star Heat and Air. They've always been dependable, quick to respond, and their work is top-notch. Whether it's routine service or an urgent call, they take care of it with professionalism and care. We couldn't recommend Lone Star Heat and Air more for anyone looking for a reliable HVAC service.
And back on Game Day, the Prairiland Patriots facing 3rd and 8. 2:11 to go in the second quarter. And this is an interesting situation. You would love to move the ball. You've got 2 timeouts left. Saline has none. But, again, the important thing is protect the football, and you can snap this thing and probably get it down to about a minute and 22 seconds before you have to snap it again, somewhere in that realm. Depending on how long the play takes.
And then, 4 or 5 seconds if you decide to punt it, and then let your defense do its work again.
Exactly. So, going to pitch out right, and Aiden Youngblood, okay.
Oh, out of
and
bounds.
goes
That's what
out
you
of bounds.
don't want.
Yeah, and that's the risk of running something wide because you didn't pick up the first down, got very close. Boy.
In this, it's
Fourth and
push
one.
territory if you were the Philadelphia Eagles.
Why don't more do it? Why?
I don't know.
Now, obviously, this is – would you want to make this decision if you're Coach Herb Smith?
I wouldn't want to make it.
I would not want to be in this situation. Timeout. We're gonna stay right here on game day. We're gonna stay right here, and
well, it's one of those that if Coach Smith decides we're going to do something, we're going to go for it. It's one of those cliche type that if you make it, boy, that was gutsy and
what a brilliant
he's got to
guy,
have
yeah.
it and all. And if you don't make it, it's the dumbest call we've made all
yeah.
year. You know, why do we do that? But
you know, on the same note, you want to win every ball game, right?
Well, and I was going to say maybe this is a kind of game and a situation where you do go for it. And that way, if a situation like this comes up next week against Harmony's up 14-6 late in the first half, and we're right here this way.
We're going, baby. Here we go.
There we go.
Yeah,
Kennebrew the tush push.
It is the tush push. I can't believe it. That is incredible, and they get the first down.
That's right. Hey, Ozzie Gordon had two hands full of Youngblood's tail end in his palms right as you're pushing him forward.
Absolutely. So 2-minute timeout. New to high school football. We are going to take a break. We'll be right back here on Game Day.
Yay! We're so excited you decided to become a member.
Thanks. I didn't think it would be this easy.
I know. We've opened up memberships so even more people can take advantage of our amazing services.
Are you going to clean this up?
Become a new member and take advantage of all RRCU can offer. Experience the credit union difference anytime, anywhere.
No, seriously, are you going to clean this up?
Do you RRCU?
And back here on Game Day is 2 minutes remaining in the second quarter. And, you know, I've always wondered, you know, I think a lot of people just look down on the play so much as a non-football play, quote unquote. But until someone does something about it, why don't more people do it, right?
Right.
Prairiland Patriots, I don't know if Coach Smith heard me, but they pull it off and pick up the first down.
Yeah, and I said Aiden Youngblood before we went to break, it was Keaton Kennebrew, the quarterback, that just took the ball and went up the middle, and Gordon ran in there with kind of both hands and shoved him up over the pile. But, you know, before the tush push, you know, back in my day, you know, the Bears had Refrigerator Perry that they would put in, and it was the same thing. Well, why don't more teams put a 300-pound lineman in to gain that yard? And, you know, some can do it, and then other teams can try it, and it doesn't work so well.
So Prairiland's going to take this thing down inside 10 seconds with the play clock until breaking the huddle. And they're going to run the same thing with Youngblood around the left side. He cuts back, makes a move to the middle, and a really nice run from Aiden Youngblood.
Moves the chains.
Yeah, moves the chains.
Stops the clock.
And I tell you what, even people looking up the halftime score of this one are kind of going to be, you know, hey, man,
What's
Prairiland
going
playing
on?
with them, yeah.
But, you know, somebody evidently on the coaching staff or Keaton Kennebrew or somebody in the huddle gave Youngblood the message, do not run out of bounds, because that time he threw on the brakes and reverse field, and that was what made the play, was the reverse.
And now Kennebrew rolling out to his right is looking down the field, and they've got him in. No, it's intercepted. And by the wrong guy. That's Prox
and that's
coming
what you
down the
don't
sideline.
want.
Yeah, uh-oh.
That's
Big
not
uh-oh.
good.
Yeah. With 20 seconds left, there is a flag, so we could be getting some block in the back action of some sort. and it's around the 40-yard line. But I tell you what, Prox, sometimes you see a kid and he moves different.
Right, right.
Got a holding after the interception on the return. We got a holding against.
So Grand Saline's going to keep it. They're going to end up around midfield with 20 seconds left and no timeouts. Again, Prairiland, I'm okay taking the shots, right? You know, you don't love the interception, and you definitely don't love when it ends up in the end zone. But I'm okay with the shots.
Well, and if you don't take the shot there, then what was the point of going for it on fourth down earlier?
Absolutely.
I mean, if the only reason you're going to go for it is to kneel on the ball, well, you know, like I said, this is a good game for that situation in case it happens to come up next week against
100%.
Harmony.
Absolutely. And, you know, I'm not too caught up on Harmony, as this is a double pass, and then
flag.
And Jaden Whitaker's going to take care of it and end. Well, the clock stopped.
Well, a flag on the play. There's two of them on the other side. But yeah, not to dismiss this game at all. I hope anyone who's listening doesn't think I'm doing that. I'm just saying that it's there's a method behind the madness to some of this stuff.
Well, not only that, but when you're talking about if the same situation occurs next week, I don't know much about Harmony, really, but I just get the sense they don't have a Colton Prox,
right?
So
or a Jet Taylor,
so that being, if you're in the situation next week, you're in a lot better position to handle it.
Right.
Taylor out of the gun. Second down and 10, and we've got another flag and a false start.
But even after they converted the fourth down play, the runs with Youngblood, that's good experience for him of, okay, we're in this situation, here's where the clock is, here's where we stand, don't run out of bounds and kill the clock. So now that experience is in. Or we could be in the fourth quarter of this game and it be a one-score game, and they need that experience and that to think back on it.
13 seconds remaining in the half. Taylor, 2nd and 30, digging deep in the playbook, and he's going to roll out left. And I'm betting this ends up being, he's going to run and take off with it. He's probably going to end up down the sideline, and that's going to do it.
Adam Anderson finally chased him down.
And that's going to do it for the half. Now, the head official, Brian Hughes.
Well, the coaches are yelling horse collar. But Anderson never left his feet. He kind of grabbed him by the shoulder pads, or he may have grabbed him back and pulled him down, but it wasn't one of the drop tackles. And
now what they're talking about is there time on the clock?
Right, because it can end on a defensive penalty.
Well, I think regardless, they want him saying, out of bounds with a second left. And it was close. Now, if there is time on the clock, I think it's within a second, like 0.6 something,
right.
Which no difference,
If there's a second left, well, it doesn't look like the refs are walking toward the locker room. But I was going to say, if they give them a second or half a second right from where they're at, they're right near Esquivel's long field goal of the year, 40-yarder.
Which is, there you go, of course. Of course he knows, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so with that, it is halftime, 14-6, and a defensive battle between Prairiland and Grand Saline. We've got halftime coming up right here on Game Day. Ready to rep your school and your wallet?
I'm here to open a student account and score that sweet school debit card.
With no monthly fees, mobile banking, and a debit card that shows your school pride, our student account is built for your game plan.
Get in the game. Open yours today.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
Hello everyone, I'm Jason with Golden Corral in Texarkana. I've got big cheers going out to Lone Star Heating and Air. I talked with Matt Shirley over at Lone Star Heating and Air. They actually came out, looked to see what we needed. They ordered the supplies or the equipment and everything. They came in and they did the install. They did 2 units in 1 day with no business disruptions whatsoever. Thanks to Lone Star Heating and Air, we got our air up and going and everything's running good.
At Moore Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Paris, we can make your next vehicle purchase simple, stress-free, and built around you. Whether you're looking for a rugged Ram truck, an adventurous Jeep, or a quality pre-owned, we have the right vehicle for you at the right price. And with over 700 5-star reviews, our customers know that our friendly, knowledgeable staff is here for you. So come see us off the loop in Paris, Texas, and for more details, visit morecdjr.com.
Back here on game day as the teams are getting ready to take to the field after the halftime performances from the Grand Saline Band, the Prairiland cheerleaders, and the Prairiland Band as well. Stephen Johnston, Wheezy Morrison in a 14-6 ball game. And Wheezy, Prairiland came out, threw the first punch, and in a fight, you know you're going to get hit back, right? Grand Saline, they threw a pretty hefty one. As a matter of fact, it was probably about a 40-yard bomb on a 4th down.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it was at the 39-yard line, now that I recall. Incredible play by Prox, right? But Prairiland, man, they weathered the storm.
Well, and they've held their own. I mean, the Prairiland defense has – they've gone, to keep the fight boxing analogy or whatever going. They've gone toe-to-toe with them. And like you said, they've taken some punches. They're, and we're still standing and going to get the ball back here to start the second half. You wonder what Grand Saline's mental makeup was going into the halftime of, goodness, it's 14-6, and these guys are, giving us everything we want as well.
Well, I can tell you this. Having talked to Coach Herb Smith earlier this week, every coach is going to think they got the game plan and, hey, we can really this and that. And, a lot of times you feel like it's coach speak. But talking to him, you got the sense that, man, he really believes they're going to go out there and hang with this team that in the preseason everybody had circled as it's over by halftime.
Right.
That is certainly not the case. And if you're Prairiland, we're going to kind of figure out what type of halftime adjustments have taken place as these two teams get ready to take the field. And that is, if you're Prairiland, another storm that you have to weather.
Right. And, you go in and you tell them, hey, guys, it's 14-6. We're right in this thing. Keep doing what we're doing. We've got to maintain the intensity. We've got to maintain the aggression that we've had on defense. Don't give up the big play. Don't give up the huge play. If they're going to score, make them drive to score.
100%, and they've done that. They've forced, it to be a challenge as Gordon's going to take the kickoff coming to the left and drag down just beyond the 20-yard line, and that's where Prairiland will start the second half offensively. And we were talking about this at halftime, how this is a very senior-heavy team. You do have some younger talent on the squad, by all means. But all in all, Wheezy, this is a group that has been intact together for a long time.
Right. And a lot of these guys that are seniors now, they were kind of forced into, I'm not going to say roles they weren't ready for, but they were thrown in while they were still green and wet behind the ears into varsity action as sophomores, and a lot of them even as freshmen, just because Prairiland had a couple of senior classes there the last few years that didn't have very many football players in them. And so these guys have stepped up. You can see their progress and the maturity and their growth from when they were freshmen and sophomores till now. So, yeah, they're going to lose quite a bit.
Opening up the drive with a 7-yard run was Gordon. Right back under center, Kennebrew, one of those young men we were talking about. Bridges is going to cut back, and he'll pick up the first down. And football is such an interesting game because there's so many moments where it might seem insignificant, where you go, oh, that's a big deal, right? Mm-hmm. Picking up that first down coming out of the half,
right? That's
a big deal.
Right. Well, and if Grand Saline comes out and they stuff them and Prairiland punts and they go down and score, well, now,
it's deflating.
It is. And so, keep the ball, keep the clock running, keep control of it. You know, come out of the huddle with about 15 seconds left, snap the ball with 5 or 6 left, and stay in control of the game.
Handoff Gordon, right side. And sometimes, you know, Austin Gordon just, I can't tell you how many times this year, probably last year too, but where he's just lost in the mix. You know, there's a big crowd, and you think, okay, you know, gain of 3 or 4, and then like a magic trick, like a rabbit popping out of the hat,
he's
there,
still going.
and there he goes. Yeah.
You know, and Aussie's another one that you know, he was kind of brought up as a sophomore. You know, put into the starting running back as a sophomore. Well, as a sophomore, Austin Gordon wasn't a very big kid. You know, and now he's strong. He's one of the power lifters. He's got in there and he's lifted weights. His legs are strong. You know, so he may get hit now, but he is so strong that he's not the same kid he was 2 years ago.
And it looks like Callan Bridges is going to pick up a first down on a 2nd and 6 run. So, you know, you've run 4 plays, picked up 2 first downs. And, you know, Bridges, young blood, your quarterback, Keaton Kennebrew, right? And Jaden Whitaker, who you talk about throwing guys into roles they're not ready for. Jaden Whitaker, it seemed like he was pretty well cemented in his roles, and then coach says, hey, I need a guard.
Right.
And then there, you know, you can see him pull, and that's exactly why they wanted him there. They needed an athletic guard that could get out in space, get in the way, throw some blocks, and he did a phenomenal job.
Right. You know, and you've got to have to build a culture or a tradition or whatever you want to call it. You've got to have guys like Jaden Whitaker, who whatever you need, coach, just tell me.
Just the attitude.
You need me to change from a 24 to a 55 and go to the offensive line. Give me the 55.
And I tell you this, when I talked to Jaden about it, he was so excited to be a guard.
Yeah.
And a kid who, you know, as a backup fullback, primarily linebacker, you know, he was like, you know, I'm used to getting, you know, 10, 12 touches in a year, something like that. He was so excited to play guard as we've got a run from Youngblood. It's going to pick up a couple of yards. But nonetheless, just seeing how excited he was to play on the offensive line, right? And then changing the number, and I said, brother, you're gonna look funny in that 55. It's gonna be big on you. He didn't care.
Yeah.
Does not care how he looks. Does not care about touching the football. He was ready to go play some offensive line, and then after the fact, comes to me after the Chisholm game and says, I have a whole new respect for offensive linemen now.
Right.
3rd down and 4 for Prairieland. They're going to go Bridges left side, and Bridges, and he is very close. And it looks like he's going to pick up the first down. Needed 4, picked up 5.
Yeah. Hey, I'm telling you right now, Prairieland's offensive line, you know, Big Shug, Caden James McQueen, he, you know, anchors it right there at the center spot. Him, Joshua Bratcher. Man, they're having their way with Grand Saline. They're just moving down the field, moving it back, positive yards every time. And this is, you know, Herb Smith football.
Straight handoff to Gordon up the middle, and yeah, you know, okay, pick up 3.
Yeah,
we're not really gonna throw a party, right? You know, we're not gonna fire the cannons,
but we're gonna move the chains.
But then, yeah, then you're gonna pick up 4, and then, so you know, this is just methodical right now for Prairieland.
Well, and even, you know, and not even that, you've mentioned before, it's, you know, 6:41 left, 6:40 left, 6:39 left. And Grand Saline hadn't touched the ball.
This is the first drive of the second half, right.
So they are not going to score if they don't have the ball. And this is exactly what Prairieland wanted to do, was come out and have a drive like this.
And it looks like Grand Saline finally is able to limit the Prairiland rushing attack on that second down and send it to 3rd and medium. But for Prairiland, you know, this is certainly 4-down territory. You've driven the ball down to the 30-yard line, picked up a couple there, so 3rd and 3.
Yeah. Well, in here, you know, you would sort of expect the bridges and let's get these 3 yards and keep going. And I say that, and Will may run a sweep to Youngblood or somebody wide.
Snap, they go to Bridges, and Bridges cuts back to the middle and picks up the first down.
Handoff number 8, Bridges cuts up to the 20.
Yeah, this is a very impressive drive for the Prairiland Patriots. And as that time, Bridges around the right side cuts back, which is how the blocking is designed for it to go. It's designed to counter, and he picks up 8, and that clock moves. 5:20. We're going to be home in time for supper, brother.
Yeah, we catch the World Series game. And, you know, you look at Grand Saline's defense, and, you know, you're looking at 240 pounds, 220 pounds, 225 pounds, and well, we kind of slipped there.
And that's kind of just the first, you know, lapse offensively for Prairiland. And
well, and Callan, you know, he was coming to the left side this time, and when he stopped to make that cut that you talked about a couple of plays ago, his plant foot just kind of didn't plant. It kind of slipped out from under him, but it's the first time that on this drive that they found themselves kind of behind the chains with a long yardage situation.
The positive side of that is, once again, you know, you're going to have 2nd down, 3rd down, 4th down to pick all of this up. Toss out to Gordon, trying to get wide, and Grand Saline is there. And so, you know, you get down inside right on the cusp edge of the red zone and start to go backwards now. 3rd and 14 coming up for Prairiland. But, you know, again, that clock moving. We're now under 4 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter.
So the 3rd quarter is nearly gone.
And obviously a lot to pick up here on 3rd and 14, but you pick it up. In theory, you could go the whole quarter.
Right.
With the way that
One more
Prairiland
first
is
down.
going, yeah. Handoff left side, and there's some blocking in front and trying to get to the edge.
He's going to be close. He fought and kind of broke a tackle down there along the sideline.
And that was Bridges winding the clock. So picks up 10 of the 14. So 4th and 4 coming up for Prairiland. And that clock moving.
Yeah, so it'll be around 2:45 or so when they snap the ball this time.
Just incredible. And, you know, you want to come away with points. You got to have points. But this has been about as good of a drive as you could imagine for Prairiland. 4th and 4. Let's see where they go here. Handoff left side. And this is Bridges. He's got it. And Bridges into the end zone. A drive that takes up 9.5 minutes. And Callan Bridges, Prairiland's going to go for 2.
I'll tell you, that's got to be exactly the way Coach Herb Smith drew that opening drive up at halftime in the locker room. They just took the ball and marched it downfield chunks at a time. I mean, that was pretty much your basic 3 yard and a cloud of dust offense.
Can they get 2 more? And it is going to be Austin Gordon. And I'm not sure that he got it. No good. But 2:36 to go in the 3rd quarter. And we're going to step aside. We will be right back here on Game Day.
Hey, I'm Josh Rett, project manager with 2B Builders. We're a local GC here in Texarkana. We have Lone Star out here doing our heating and AC. They do a good job for us. We really appreciate the customer service that they provide. I know that at Lone Star Heating and Air, I can always call Matt or Dave, their head commercial HVAC guy, and they will always pick up the phone when I need them. And that's a big thing when we're working out here on these commercial projects. Usually when we're in a bind, we need something and we need it pretty quickly, and we can rely on Lone Star for that.
And back here on game day is the Prairiland Patriots getting ready to kick off to Grand Saline in a 14-12 ball game with 2:36 to go in the third quarter. And ladies and gentlemen, you know, the way this one has gone, I really think that if Prairiland can get a stop here, then if you can duplicate what you just did, Grand Saline will be midway through the fourth quarter needing to score to win.
Right. And you know, we're over here on the Grand Saline sidelines, and I can tell their stands is pretty quiet right now.
Pretty stunned. Now, on the other side, you do have to deal, I think that was Prox on the return. And you know, if I'm Coach Smith, hey, son, you know, the guy you don't kick to, let me tell you.
Right. And, you know, the Prairiland, the kickoffs have been pretty exciting the last 3 games for Prairiland. We've seen Callan Bridges return 180 yards for a touchdown against Lone Oak. Adam Anderson returned one to start the second half last week. And then in the game before that, Chisholm returned one against Prairiland, but it was called back. So the last 3 games, there's been excitement on the kickoffs.
Taylor, they're going to fake the jet sweep, and he'll run ahead and be up near midfield. So going to be close to the 45. It's going to set up second down and medium. Clock running down to 2 minutes remaining here in the third quarter.
And this is a big defensive stand here that would really, you know, it'll send a big message if Prairiland can get a stop here and get the ball back.
Prox lined up at the top of your screen. Jack Phillips on the coverage, safety shaded way over there with him. And they're going to sprint right with the option pitch, coming back to the middle of the field with some room to run. And finally taking him down. And that's, you know, good for Grand Saline for, you know, knowing where, look, Prox is our guy. You know, Jet Taylor, we want him throwing the ball all over the place. Prairiland is saying, look, he's a great player. It's not going to – we're not letting him beat us tonight.
Right. You know, and that time Grand Saline went with Preston Haas, who, you know, he's kind of been their utility guy so far. He'll go in motion a few times. He'll line up in the backfield a few times.
And now they're going to line Prox up on the other side and run to the left. And Taylor, he just speeds right around the edge. Finally,
Anderson knocked him out.
Taken out of bounds by Anderson.
But he's down to the 5-yard line.
And I think, Grand Saline's just, they're kind of just playing the numbers based on how Prairiland lines up against Prox.
Right.
So, okay, you're going to send bodies that way. We're going to run the other way, you know, and sometimes football, it's a complicated chess match, but not all the time.
Yeah, it was, you know, like you said, they brought Prox around to the right side and just went left with Taylor.
Now Prox lined up in the slot, goes in motion, and they fake the handoff to him. Big flag comes out. And a short gain. I think we've got a hold that's going to go against Grand Saline, so that'll back them up. I tell you, the official that threw that flag nearly threw himself to the ground doing it. He was letting them know, hey,
this one's coming in hot. So that puts them in a odd 1st and goal from just inside the 20.
Right, and 1st and goal, they were, ball sitting in between the 9 and the 10, and then you get the hold between the 20 and the 19. So, got to score if you're Grand Saline. 1st and 19, handoff left side, and they're going to pick up the penalty yards back. Send it to 2nd and goal from the 9.
Yeah, again, that was Haas. They've kind of – it looks like, you hit on it a while ago. It looks like Grand Saline has decided that Prairiland is focused on procs, and so now they're doing some stuff with Preston Haas.
And let's see if Grand Saline snaps this ball. I bet they do. On this side of the 3rd quarter, fake the handoff, and they're going to throw it right side to Haas. Flag does come out, and a leaping touchdown. But there is a flag down, ineligible man downfield.
Rhodes came close to having another sack there. He kind of had him by the arm, but Jet Taylor broke loose. But just the athleticism on that play by those two guys.
Yeah, it was. And the thing about, we're not going to let this guy beat us. A good coach will find a way to get the ball in his hands to your playmakers. And hats off to Prairiland. Obviously, he makes an incredible play. And that's something I said in the first half is like you look at a guy, and especially at this level, and you can see who moves different, right? Prox moves different. And so for Prairiland, you catch a lucky break with the ineligible man downfield. And now we have stoppage in play.
So there's something wrong, a clock issue going on.
Yeah, I think they're fixing the clock. There's 1 second on the clock.
Brian Hughes will get that straightened out. 1.4. But yeah, like I said, Prairiland defender's coming right in at Prox, and he's lining him up, and the next thing you know, you're looking up and he's jumping over your head from about the 3-yard line into the end zone.
And remember, this is goal to go, and a little bobble on the handoff, but Taylor is going to walk this one in. And that's going to be a touchdown for Grand Saline as that 3rd quarter whistle blows. And we will have the extra point, and not often that you get a transition from score, extra point, change a quarter, and kickoff.
All at once.
All at once.
The NFL would hate this.
I don't like it either.
They would miss several advertising opportunities to take breaks.
I don't like it either. Left-footed kicker from Grand Saline. It's up, and it is good. And it is 21-12. Grand Saline on top of Prairiland, and we're going to be right back here on Game Day.
Sorry you're under the weather, Susie. Here are those loan docs.
Thanks, James. I'm so glad we didn't have to delay this closing.
Tissue?
Thanks.
Secure and safe loan closings, or take care of just about any banking task. Experience the credit union difference. Anytime, anywhere. With RRCU's digital banking. Do you RRCU?
And back here on Game Day as the Prairiland Patriots getting ready to receive the kickoff to start the 4th quarter. And, a big part of missing the 2-point conversion earlier, you could kick the extra point. The extra point on your first touchdown was blocked. And what that has done is created a 2-score game right now, and that's a problem.
Right. And, you know, I believe that right now, you know, the 21 points that Grand Saline has up there is, and I realize there's another quarter to be played, but the 21 points is the fewest Grand Saline has scored in district. You know, they got beat 45-28 by Edgewood, but then against Harmony they scored 42, Chisholm they scored 46, Lone Oak they scored 55. And, you know, even for Prairiland to be holding them and within this, they've just got to figure out a way now to get the touchdown and then get in, you know, in position for State and Lewis to maybe kick the field goal. You kicked the one at Chisholm that put Prairiland up by 2 scores that kind of
sealed the deal.
Sealed the deal there and put that game out of reach. So, you know, while I've talked about Daniel Esquivel with his kicking ability for Grand Saline, Prairiland's got a pretty decent one too over there that could hit a field goal, you know, possibly if needed.
So 12 minutes left in the ball game, and with the way that this score is 9, you know, being the difference, you know, that's not really a situation where it would have to be wonky for this to go into an overtime type of situation, but Prairiland looking for some running room on the outside. I will say this, regardless, like there is no scenario now where Grand Saline doesn't get on that bus and say, dude, we played more of a game than we thought we were going to.
Right. Right. Well, Prairiland's definitely come into it not taking the look of we've got Harmony next week for the playoffs. They are definitely taking the one game at a time. This is the next one on the schedule. We're going to give them everything we've got mentality.
Second down for Prairiland, and you know, not much doing on first and second down. And looks like we have a player from Grand Saline down. And as they tend to him, you know, we'll take an injury timeout until that young man is okay. We will be right back here on Game Day.
At Raffaelli Property Management, keeping our tenants comfortable is a top priority. That's why we trust Lone Star Heat and Air. They've always been dependable, quick to respond, and their work is top-notch. Whether it's routine service or an urgent call, they take care of it with professionalism and care. We couldn't recommend Lone Star Heat and Air more for anyone looking for a reliable HVAC service.
And back on Game Day, as a young man couldn't quite get a look at the number.
It's I believe it's number 61, Landon Landry.
Walking off under his own power.
Yeah, he kind of popped up and walked off.
You know what it is? He felt bad that we didn't get that break after the touchdown.
Right.
Yeah, he knew.
You know, while we got a second here with the injury timeout, we'll mention we've talked about kickers a few times, and I just want to give a shout out to Tyler Mall, former Prairiland kicker that converted an extra point attempt last weekend for the Southern Arkansas Mule Riders, and he became the first Prairiland football player to score in an NCAA football game.
That's incredible. And now flags are going to come out on a. Now it takes a hit, and it'll be interesting to see if you're out of the box and the ball goes beyond the line of scrimmage, or else it's grounding. And then you have the quarterback on the ground.
It wasn't like he had.
Yep, grounding.
Seen.
That's tough.
They called intentional grounding on that, but Youngblood was out there running. But, you know, when Kennebrew took the hit and threw the ball, it just lost any oomph that it had on it. But I guess, you know, when you go by the letter of the law, he wasn't outside the box and it didn't make it back to the line of scrimmage. But it wasn't like he wasn't trying to get it to someone.
And the worst part of it is grounding, you lose the down along with the penalty yardage. So it is 4th down and a very long way to go. And a high punt, fair catch called by Prox. And it'll be phenomenal field position for Grand Saline with 10:48 left on the clock. So Prairieland's first offensive possession of the second half goes 9.5 minutes and results in a score. And, I mean, I haven't seen every Prairieland play this year. That has got to be their best drive of the season.
Yeah, well, considering everything, the competition, the scenario, the coming out, it would definitely have to be, the best drive of the season. But then that one, you end up punting out of your own end zone.
Yeah, after a minute and 12 seconds.
Right, and so now they've got the ball back with 32 on the 32-yard line of the Patriots.
10:48 on the clock in the fourth quarter. Taylor fakes the handoff. He'll take it himself, and Newman is there to make the stop. As this clock rolls, 10.5. And that'll bring up 2nd down and 6.
Yeah, and I know, Grand Saline's high-powered offense and all, but right now, they're wanting to run that clock. They don't want Prairiland to have it, get another chance at scoring and cutting into the lead.
And they will throw it this time, and they're going to go deep to Prox. Looked like a little bit
Shoved
of a push-off. And based on the reaction, he caught it. My goodness.
Well, they're calling it a touchdown.
Yeah, and we're just at a bad angle. Can't really see that corner of the end zone, but man, initially, there was there's something he's not going to get away with at the next level.
That's right. He kind of had the arm right in Youngblood's chest, and it extended pretty good there. But again, it was it was a good catch. It wasn't just an easy pitch and throw or pitch and catch.
And so now the extra point up and good, 28-12, 10 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. And we will be right back here on Game Day.
Yay! We're so excited you decided to become a member.
Thanks. I didn't think it would be this easy.
I know. We've opened up memberships so even more people can take advantage of our amazing services.
Are you going to clean this up?
Become a new member and take advantage of all RRCU can offer. Experience the credit union difference anytime, anywhere.
No, seriously, are you going to clean this up?
Do you RRCU?
And back on Game Day, 10:03 left in the fourth quarter, 28-12. And Grand Saline, inevitably they...
Well, the good news is it's still just a 2-score game.
Sure.
If you get the
two-point
conversions.
So you've gone from a 2-score game, still a 2-score game.
It's just a more difficult 2-score game.
Sure. And this is the part where you kind of need, what I like to say is you need sports to be sports, right? You need the wild crazy to happen.
Well, like we've talked about before, don't sleep on the kickoffs. Prairieland's returned one from touchdowns in each of the last 2 games.
Now, they've been calling fair catch on them, and they do so here.
Again.
They'll come out to the 25-yard line.
25-yard line. First and 10 for the Patriots.
But I'll tell you what, man.
Well,
no matter the outcome, you're at the point where, like, the pride has set in. You feel great about how the kids have played tonight.
Well, and you've given, what everybody thought was the best team in the district going in, highly ranked, throughout the season. And right now, still with a quarter left, you've given them everything that they want.
And Prairiland with the rushing attack. Ball came out, but runner was down. And that'll be a 4-yard gain for the Patriots. And, you know, the last drive, it was pretty well just going backwards, right? So getting that first touch and getting ahead of the chains, you're already in better shape than you were then. But you're going to need something like what you had with Aiden Youngblood in that first quarter.
Yeah, at this point, Prairiland's got to have a big play. You know, they
on offense and
right,
defense.
Right. You know, there's not enough time to put together a sustained 12 or 13 play drive like they did to open the second half. You've got to have a big burst from Youngblood, a big one from Ozzie or Callan. You know, one of those guys has got to make a big play. You know, and this is kind of where you see Kennebrew throw a deep pass to Youngblood, and they'll hit some now and again.
Yeah, we've seen that a number of times. You know, looking at Kennebrew, Coach Smith sends me the stats every Saturday, and it's so interesting looking at Kennebrew's numbers. You know, I think he's thrown it, twice here tonight. That's pretty standard, par for the course. I think his season high is 7 attempts maybe. And it's always right around the 50% mark, you know. And one of them is always going to be a 30, 40, 50-yard connection.
Right.
And now they go into punt formation and get a little bit better one off this time as Patton, as this one starts to roll sideways right around the 45-yard line. So you're going to end up with a 25-yard punt, 26-yard punt.
Well, and here's where, you know, of course, a turnover always helps, but here's where a big turnover from your defense would be huge.
Sure. .8:01 left on the clock here in the fourth quarter. As Taylor out of the gun. And again, you see how they have Prox guarded. They fake the handoff to him on the jet sweep, and a great play made that time by Prairiland. And that's Camden Watson, yeah.
You know, like I said, Cam, you know, I think Cam missed 6 weeks of the season. You know, I believe the first game or two, he was the defensive player of the game for him. Came out, got him started tonight. You know, made a big hit to start the game. And that was a big stop right here. You know, Prairiland's they've got to get the ball back.
Second down and 7:20 left. And they're going to keep it on the ground. They know that Prairiland needs to get the ball back.
But they ran him out of bounds and stopped the clock.
And for the Prairiland Patriots, you know, you need the spectacular. And, you know, even though it can cause you some yards for sure, you got to start punching at that football.
Right.
And now he's going to throw it one more time and going deep again, and it's caught again over the middle. But this time it's going to be Ashton Withers. And again, that's the danger of it. You know, you commit so much to Prox, and I get it, man. Trust me, I've seen it twice tonight, 3 times.
Right. Well, and that's the first, I believe that's the first one that's even targeted Withers. It's mostly been Prox and Haas.
And so really Grand Saline at this point, first and goal from the 8. And I wouldn't be surprised if one of these is just throw it up to 3. Let's see him do something spectacular. Instead, it'll be Haas who goes into the end zone. 6.5 minutes remaining. And you know, that's going to make this game look like a game that wasn't played here tonight.
Right. And I had that exact thought in my head of this score does not reflect how close of a game and the defense that Prairiland has played all night tonight.
Yeah, Esquivel hits the extra point, 35-12. 6:23 left in the ball game, and we will be right back here on Game Day.
We're here at the biggest game of the year for the kickoff, and I say these local guys have no competition, John.
No doubt, Stephen. Why sweat in the press box?
When you can sit like a king.
And we got the best seats in the house right here, baby.
Where every seat is the best seat.
Oh yeah, Texas Furniture and Appliance. Local since 1927.
These players are definitely in their comfort zone.
You say something?
Back here on Game Day as Grand Saline about to kick away to the Prairiland Patriots. And, you know, that's what we were talking about is obviously, you know, you got to finish, you know. So there is something to be said about that for the Prairiland Patriots and Grand Saline and them kind of, you know, I'm sure on the sideline they're talking about nailing the coffin, foot on the throat, pedal to the floor, all the things, you know, any analogy. But at the same time, I think that once it became that 2-score game and you didn't have a sustained drive on offense, probably took the wind out of Prairiland a little bit.
Right. Well, and Grand Saline, regardless of what the final score says on the scoreboard, Grand Saline knows they were in a fight.
Sure.
And you wonder here, you know, Prairiland's been fair catching them. You wonder if we're going to return it because we've got to have something big and quick here.
Right. Yeah, this sophomore kicker is something nice, and they do kick it away. And moving the ball up to what looks around the 30 in that range. 6:17 left in the ball game, 35-12. Grand Saline pulling away late. And when I say pulling away late, you know,
in the fourth quarter, start the fourth quarter, it was 14-12.
It was
no, they scored right at the end of the end of the quarter. Right.
They kicked the extra point in neither the third or fourth quarter.
Right.
As Prairiland are going to go wide to the left side, looking for room to run. Grand Saline, you know, after that initial drive from the Patriots, you know, they pretty well have flowed really well and gang tackled to the football as we have a Patriot down. And now that the game is 35-12, midway through the fourth quarter, another score or, you know, turning the ball over, that's not the worst thing that can happen.
Right.
This is the worst thing that could happen with a player down. And, you know, fortunately gets back up. He's going to walk off to the sideline under his own power. You're, you know, hoping that got the breath knocked out of him, whatever the case may be.
I still hadn't been able to see what number, who that.
I thought the number was 4, but that young man was not built like Prairiland's 4.
But yeah, this is what, you know, this is definitely what Prairiland doesn't want is the last 6 minutes of the game to get an injury to anybody.
So back under center is Kennebrew, and they're going to run up the middle. And that was 4, Austin Gordon. picking up 3, taking it to 3rd and 5. 5.5 minutes to go in this ball game.
And you never know. I mean, right out of the gates, they handed it to Youngblood, and he busted one for 50, so that could happen.
That could happen, and I think they could go to Youngblood here. And nothing doing on that run. That'll set up 4th down once again for Prairiland, and they're going to send in the punt unit. And, you know, you're in your own territory. Ball is at the 35-yard line. A little closer to midfield. You might, you know, go for it there and see if you can sustain a drive just to, you know, get the momentum back. But nonetheless, it will be a punt from Prairiland, and a fair catch by Prox at around the 35-yard line with 4.5 minutes to go in this ball game. And you know, I don't know Prox as a young man, but I thought there was a little chance to return that one.
Yeah, I don't know if it may be the situation. I don't know why Saline would have said fair catch it and don't try to return it, but their work, Prairiland defenders were not really crashing down on him. But with the way he's played tonight, I'm not going to question him.
Right, exactly, yeah. I don't think it was a lapse in, like, judgment, like he misread the ball and, you know, the coverage or anything. I think more so it's like, okay, time to just play smart, safe football.
Right. You're not going to get hurt fair catching the ball, but you might if you try to return a punt.
Carson Herring gets a carry for Saline around the left side, and Prairiland limits it to 1 yard.
And this may be where you see Saline also. Well, no, I was going to say taking their time coming out of the huddle, just ready to get on the bus and make the drive back.
Yeah, a couple of first downs, and they could run the clock out. They'll pick up positive yardage on this run with 3:40 remaining in the ball game, 35-12. And, you know, like we were saying, of course, it's going to go down as a loss. You know, no moral victories, this and that. But if you're Prairiland, you're going to go into the locker disappointed that you lost. That's always going to be the initial feeling. There's no question about it. And then you turn around and you start to prepare for Harmony. And when you start to prepare for Harmony, you're going to remember the kind of ball game that you played against Saline.
Right.
And I think that's where the positive comes from for the Prairiland Patriots. Boy, that was...
He rode that hand.
He did.
And, you know, this is the second week in a row that Coach Herb Smith and his staff have gone in and came out and did exactly what they needed to do in the second half. You know, last week, Prairiland trailed 21-13 at halftime and came out, kicked off, and Adam Anderson returned the ball 80 yards for a touchdown to start the second half. They held Quitman scoreless the entire second half, come away with the win. This week, comes out, gets the ball, takes it down, nearly drives the whole third quarter, and punches one in for a score. So, you know, they've got it going on right now as far as coming out with intensity and things they can build on, and this is what we need to do. And can, like you said, they can point to lots of things tonight that they did well that they can build on.
And that's going to take us to the 2-minute timeout, newly applied this year in high school football, 35-12. Saline with the lead, getting ready to wrap this one up from Prairiland Patriots Stadium here on Game Day. Ready to rep your school and your wallet?
I'm here to open a student account and score that sweet school debit card.
With no monthly fees, mobile banking, and a debit card that shows your school pride, our student account is built for your game plan.
Get in the game. Open yours today.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
Back here on game day with the 2-minute timeout wrapping up. I'd like to thank some of our sponsors who have made Paris Game Day possible for you guys, including Texas Furniture and Appliance, Red River Credit Union, First Federal Community Bank. You know, you and I at halftime, we mentioned our guy Mike Davidson, Roadrunner Service and Tire. Appreciate him stepping up. Brian Glass, Glassland and Home. Clay Rose at Lone Star Collision. David Dennison, David's Meat Market. Appreciate all those guys.
You know, more trivia, Mike Davidson at Roadrunner Tire was a member of the first Prairiland football team to ever post a winning record.
Right on.
6-4 in 1985.
There you go. As Adam Anderson comes up and makes a big stick with a flag down. And, you know.
So I'll expect a free tire rotation or something for that,
the mention.
for that shout out and the high school heroics.
Drake Companies has been a part of game day as well. Thank Drake Companies. Sky Athletics Cheer and Tumbling sponsoring the cheerleaders this year. Stephen Walker, Paris injury attorney. HWH. Those guys who, you know, Melissa Gordon has been instrumental in making this thing happen, which I feel like Paris might fall apart if it's not for Melissa Gordon. Yeah, she is someone who you could ask the world of her and she's going to give you a galaxy.
Right. You know, and if you want an example of some of the work HWH does, you can just look at Prairiland's indoor facility back there in the background. And, man, that thing is –
now
it's not what Mike Davidson was working out in back in 1986.
Yeah.
Let me tell you that.
And so, you know, I've been to Pleasant Grove, which, by the way, HWH did that as well in PG. And then I haven't been there, but I've seen Melissa. Right, Melissa is something else. So those are two beautiful indoor facilities, practice facilities, weight rooms. In between that, you know, Paris sits pretty well in the middle of that. I would put Prairiland's little 3A indoor facility and workout facility against anyone else in between Melissa and Texarkana.
Right. It is first class, top-notch facility for sure.
So Paris Lumber and Building Center, they've been a part of Paris Game Day as well. And then my guy, David House from David House Jewelers, where everything shines. David House Jewelry.
Shines.
Absolutely the unmistakable voice of David House. Thank you guys so very much for making game day happen. As technically there is about a half-second difference between the game clock and the play clock, so they do have to
snap it or
snap
something.
it. You can take a knee. It's 4th and 18, and they're going to say,
just
nah,
gonna let it
not
go.
necessary. Yeah. So that's going to do it from Patriot Stadium on senior night. Hard-fought game for Prairiland, 35-12. And this one, you know, in the fourth quarter, like you said, was 21-12. You know, by the end of the third quarter, it was 14-12. This was a hard-fought game.
Right. And I think, like I said, we've talked about it was a good showing for Prairiland. They came out, and if there was any doubt of are we a playoff team, do we belong in the playoffs, this one was a resounding yes.
Absolutely.
You guys deserve it. If you beat Harmony, you earned it. It's, you know, and it'd be a great way for these seniors to cap their careers. Like I said, they went through some tough times their freshman and sophomore years, being called up to positions and having to fill in a time of need and sort of in emergency situations. And they've stuck together and they've matured, they've grown. you know, so for them to get in and end the playoff drought that Prairieland's been in, you know, there's not a group that I would know that's more deserving than these guys.
Absolutely. For Wheezy Morrison, Reed Preston, our producer, Ava Langley, Todd Coleman on the cameras. Thank you guys so very much for joining us here on Paris Game Day. That concludes our broadcast. Everyone, have a safe